Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Cackle Entry Points weekly interview series where we highlight small businesses, startups, and people who have an impact on communities across the Midwest. I'm Emily Heinz. I am the founder and managing director of Entry Point. Entry Point partners with economic development organizations and nonprofits to foster inclusive and vibrant communities across the Midwest through research and community-focused programming. So this week is super exciting because we are doing a special edition of the Cackle. So Tuesday through today, we featured small business owners from across Genesee County that contributed to our 2021 Genesee County Small Business Analysis. And more importantly, are the people who are leading the small businesses in the region. So it's really critical that we talk to them whenever we're talking about this research. So today we're talking to the owners of Friends of Berston, Amazing Angels Dance Factory, and How Art Supply and Gallery. And as you may know, on Monday, Entry Point released a new comprehensive analysis of Genesee County's small business community, which is my new most favorite report. Look! Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm like so obsessed with it. So you can check out the report and other research reports that we've done on startup and small business communities across the Midwest on entrypointmi.com. And we'll also put the link in the comments so that you can kind of check it out on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So we want to take a minute at the start of today's episode to really urge you to expand your definition of shopping local to doing business locally, especially as we kind of emerge from the pandemic. It's going to take years for many businesses across the country to recover. So we really want to emphasize that supporting your local small business community is more than just a holiday trend or about buying gifts. It's about working with local accountants, like, going to local restaurants, working with local art supply stores like we are today. And on today's episode, we'll be touching on some stats specific to BIPOC-owned small businesses in Genesee County, what the community can do to better support local small businesses overall, and the impact of a strong small business community on a region. We'll also be talking to Tyler Rossmeisler. Said that wrong, Ross. last day of the special edition. He's shaking his head off screen right now. Ross Messler, sorry, Executive Director of Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance, about the work they're doing to support the small business community. So if you have any questions or shout outs, we like obsessed with those, put them in the comments, like link to things, like definitely share this video so people in your network can see these small businesses. And then with that, we'll allow him to say his name on his own. Tyler.
Tyler Ross.
I was like, the executive director of the Glorious Tyler.
Yes, it's like Mississippi. Every time you turn around, there's an S set, and it's very confusing.
I was good the rest of the week, and then today there's no saying it.
I called my grandma when I told her I got engaged, and she goes, "Tell her it's 3 syllables, Ross Messler." So really, that was my grandma's #1 concern.
Yeah, that is a really grandma. That's a really grandma thing to say for sure. Okay, so you're the executive director of Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance. Tell us a little bit about Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance.
Thank you for that. The Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance is a part of the Flint and Genesee group, but our role at the Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance is to spur economic vitality with jobs and investment. And what brings us here today is that small businesses are an important part of spurring jobs and investment in our community.
Yeah, definitely. And then what also brings you here is that you guys were so nice and came to Entry Point because we do a lot of research on the small business community, and you wanted to commission this research report on the business community in Genesee County. Why do that? Why do you?
Well, #1 is because during the pandemic, we got kicked in the teeth and we realized just how important small businesses are to our economy. And we wanted to make sure that we knew as much as we could about them so that we could help support them, coming out of the pandemic and after the pandemic. So, I think it's a good practice to know about your small businesses, but really what was the genesis for us was, or the spark was the pandemic. Just told us, oh, holy cow, we got to really focus on this.
Yeah, I feel like we did hear from so many organizations like right in the beginning who were kind of like, we need to get a better handle on this so we can like decisively like move in a particular direction. And I think like in normal times, like small business communities, startup communities have like a lot of fluctuations, changes and things like that. And then during the pandemic, it was just like, where is the baseline? How do we help? Like, what is going on? Things are changing every day, really uncertain, things like that. So I think that is really.
And we've always had a focus on it, but I think it was just our, maturing that focus and really recognizing the small business community for what it was is a really important part of our economy and trying to support that.
Yeah, definitely. That was a couple of things, actually. I was like yesterday, because this is what I do after a research report comes through. I just like look at it, like, oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, my baby. And like one of the things that I think is really interesting that we did in this report was that we talked a lot about like the impact of the local of like a small business community on the local economy. And I don't think that people quite realize like what impact that they have when they support local businesses, like what impact like residents have when they support local businesses. So just a stat from the report is that only if you shop at like Target or something, only 14% of every dollar you spend stays in the local economy. If you shop at like How Art Supply and Gallery, who we'll talk to Charlene in a bit, I see her. I'm now like looking at them off screen.
Yes.
Then it's actually 48% of that of your dollars stays in the local region through like payroll, through overhead, through all these things. And then also 64% of all net new jobs are created by small businesses. So it really is huge. Like supporting small businesses, having a vibrant small business community is like so critical. Like why do you guys feel like it's like, what do you find awesome about like the small business community there?
Well, what I find awesome about the small business community, well, I was just going to say about this idea of recycling that dollar more often in our community is that's really exciting for an economic developer who's like trying to spur wealth creation, honestly, in our community. But I think what's so interesting and what's so exciting about small business is that from a placemaking perspective, the way you define a place like Flint or Fenton or Swartz Creek or whatever is really through the filter of small business. And it's what gives our communities character and meaning and community in all sense of the word. So I think those are like the X factors of a community.
Yeah.
No one ever goes, man, I love that place. It's got a really great Target.
Yeah, that's true. I love to hate on like Target, except for when I'm shopping there.
Right.
And then I just give them too much money. But but yeah, like it's so true. Like a vibrant small business community makes your like municipality or city or county or whatever like a destination, not just like a place you drive through. So I think that's like, and it's so important to like have that like culture and like community building that a small business community has.
And further, more than just like it's neat things to do and visit, but if they're employing your neighbor, it's literally building your community. Like you were saying, so many jobs are created by small businesses. So it really just adds to the fabric of our community.
Yeah. And like we were talking and oh my gosh, I wish I could remember literally every stat in the report, but I can't because that's impossible. So everyone's just going to have to read it. But I was going to say it's really crazy because one of the facts that we were talking about quite a bit that I'm like just trying to randomly flip through and find is that so many business owners actually live within the community that they I'm like, why can't I find it? Of course I can't.
I remember you saying something like 88% or 90.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you broke it down by demographics even too.
Yeah, it's over 90%. So for instance, 96% of BIPOC small business owners in Genesee County live in Genesee County. And then 82% actually live within the same municipality in Genesee County as their business. So it's like, so that would be just businesses owned by people of color. And it's like, it's a slightly lower, if you look at the county as a whole of like all people, but it is like they're employing your neighbor, but they also are your neighbor, and they give more to local charities. They support local causes. Like there's so much that can be. It's
that recycling of that dollar stays in your community so much more.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah,
cool.
And I love the idea of doing business locally, not just buying local like at Christmas time or for birthdays, but doing business locally. And that's one thing we've been trying to think about in my organization, from encouraging people to do business locally, but also our organization. So we're home to a couple colleges and universities and a couple hospitals. How do we get them to think about doing business locally to support our small businesses? And that's kind of what we want to accomplish, or what we want to tackle in the next year or so. It's like helping our larger institutions in town do business locally.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, what are you guys planning on doing with that?
Well, we're going to first understand, we want to focus on disadvantaged businesses, companies that don't really traditionally think about these more formalized procurement processes, but document who they are, where they are, what services they offer, and then go to our larger institutions and say, what are the needs you have, and try to play matchmaker. Yeah, I was brainstorming this with the University of Michigan, Flint. And I said, what are some things you buy? And they're like, oh my goodness, you would not believe. Obviously, like painters, like a classroom or something needs to be painted, or lawn care, or cadavers for our nursing students. I'm like, oh, so everything in between.
Yeah, that is so interesting. And they also do like so much catering and things like that. Like,
absolutely.
We had a guest on the Cackle a few weeks ago, Mark Howland with Breadless, and their lunch. He's starting a restaurant in downtown Detroit, but got his start because University of Michigan in Ann Arbor started catering, and so he was like catering like every like college event that they had, and then like that rolled into like him actually starting a business. So I think that's like a great idea. I mean, these institutions got money for days.
Well, they certainly
way more than I've ever seen. That's for sure.
Right. Just the sheer number of dollars they're spending on toiletries, it's like unbelievable.
Yeah, my gosh. So cool. Okay, so I will leave you be, and we will talk to our first person.
Well, you're gonna have fun. They're all great people.
Yay! I'm so excited.
Bye-bye.
Okay, see ya. Awesome. So our first guest joining us today is Bryant Nolden from Friends of Berston.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
I am fantastic, and thank you for having me on this morning. I'm very excited about this.
I know. I knew you would be a good talker too, because I was like, I didn't know when we first asked you to be on that you're a county commissioner
and a former school teacher.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I was like, if someone is going to be good on this show, it's going to be Bryant Nolden. That's for sure.
I really appreciate you taking your time to even invite me, so I can just talk a little bit about Berston.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll give like a brief overview. So you're a nonprofit founded in 2014 to provide oversight of the historic Berston Field House to ensure that the facility remained operational and for community recreational usage. Like, how would you tell us a little bit about like the background of like the history of Berston Field House? Well,
actually, Berston was built in 1923. It was the first recreational facility in Genesee County that was integrated, and it was integrated in the 1930s. But Berston was built in honor of Neil J. Berston, who was a person that moved here from South Dakota in the late 1800s, I think like 1898. And he started to buy property and started to develop property in and around here. And in 1916, he was sitting in his office on Durand Street in downtown Flint, and someone came in and murdered him.
Oh my gosh, that is not where I thought that story was going.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so it gets better. So, so it gets better because Berston was built. His family, they never found out who killed him. So his family in 1920 donated the property where Berston sits in perpetuity to the city of Flint to build this center in his honor.
Wow.
And it was actually completed in 1923, like I had stated earlier, and it was state of the art when it was built. It had a auditorium, had a library upstairs. It even housed a section of the Flint Fire Department, actually horse-drawn carriages. And I have some pictures from the 1920s when it was actually built, and you'll be surprised. The same floors are in the small gym that was originally put in the 1920s.
Wow.
So that's the little
back then.
Yeah. So that's the little background. That's a little background history of Berston. But Berston has always been a staple in the community. It's always brought community together. Like I stated, you know, in the 1930s, it was integrated. But you have so many people that have such fond memories of Berston Field House. And that's one of the reasons why when we started the Friends of Berston, we wanted to make sure that we were able to continue on that great legacy. Berston will be 100 years old in 2023, and we have this great big celebration that we're going to be doing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but how I actually got started with the Friends of Berston is in 2009 when Mayor Dan Wiley was the mayor of the city of Flint. I was elected to the Flint City Council. And at the time, Berston did not have an official director to run the day-to-day operations because of the financial constraints. So I asked Mayor Wiley if you just allow me to have the keys to the building, just so that I can keep it open to give the young folks in the neighborhood an opportunity to be able to come and play basketball. Yeah. And I knew that if they came in and played basketball 2 or 3 hours, they would leave after that, go home, get something to eat, take a shower, and they wouldn't get in any trouble. So from that, I became the volunteer director. And I was a volunteer director up until 2014 when a group of us who were actually having programs in Berston decided to form the Friends of Berston. And the Friends of Berston was just going to be a economic vehicle to make sure that we'd be able to keep the building open. Because during the time while I was the executive director, I cleaned the building, I cut the grass. I even went out and bought an old plow truck and plowed the snow so that the city of Flint would not have to deal with that, you know, and it was actually during the time we're going through these emergency managers and all. So we were very, very fortunate. So in 2014, we received our nonprofit status, and we started to, you know, think of ways to start to generate some resources to keep the building open. In 2016, not CSMOD, but Ruthmont actually started to do their Target North End project. And we were one of the recipients of one of the first grants.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and when we received that first grant, I went from being the volunteer director and the chair of the board to actually becoming the executive director.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a good.
Yeah. So when we were talking,
your status is always great.
Yeah. So when we were talking in the board meeting, you know, we're talking about, well, we need to hire an executive director, and one of my board members said, you know, actually Brian is doing the work now. You know, he should be the executive director. And I said, I'm doing what I've been doing for free. If you guys are willing to pay me to do it, I definitely will become the executive director.
Yeah, exactly. Like, sounds great.
So from that, things have just been on a trajectory straight up. We are very fortunate to receive that grant, and we started to put things in place with our program. So we have Creative Expressions Dance Studio, which is celebrating its 40th year. It's one of the oldest African-American dance studios in Genesee County. Wow. We have the Chosen Few Arts Council, which is a fine arts program that is really, really big. I saw that you had Angie Stamps on.
Yeah. She mentioned
and that's the Berston Bicycle Club. And then, you know, you have the thing that has really put Berston on the map is the FWC Berston Boxing, which is the birthplace or the home from where Clarissa Shields actually trained and went on to win the Olympic gold medals.
Wow.
we've been extremely fortunate with some of the things that we've been able to accomplish. We've had a great relationship with the city of Flint, with the foundations here. Ruth Mott, like I mentioned earlier, helped us out. Also, C.S. Mott, the Hagerman Foundation, when they were there, they actually helped us out as well with some things. But what really set us apart is we were very fortunate to be included in the art education and enrichment millage that Genesee County passed a couple of years ago. And it's because of the arts program and the dance studio that we have there. We were very fortunate, and that kind of solidified us in our trajectory. Now I have a staff of 5 individuals. We do a lot of great things in the community. We have a fantastic summer softball league that's been in existence for 40 years. So each Sunday afternoon, starting about 2 or 3 o'clock, we have the baseball league. It's called the Berston Intercity Softball League. And we have teams that come from across Genesee County. And on any given Sunday, you might have anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500 people. This past Sunday was our opening day. Yes.
Wow.
On Sundays, you got to come down and see it.
Yeah, for real.
It's a cross section of the community.
Yeah.
That come out and play. We have people coming from Davidson, Fenton, Swartz Creek, and come down and play. And they come down and they tailgate. They do the little barbecues or whatever, and they enjoy the game. And then when the game's over, they're going away. We're very fortunate that Sheriff Swanson came down this Sunday for opening day, and he threw out the first pitch.
Oh, nice.
And then he also said that on the second Sunday in August, he will be bringing his all-star team down to beat our all-star team. They haven't beat us in 3 years. We didn't play last year because of the pandemic, but I know he's going to bring some ringers. So we just try to be a beacon of hope for the community and make sure that things are in place there. Most of the programs that we have there, there's no cost associated with it. There's a small cost with the dance studio because of the recitals and other things, but most of the other programs that we have, there's no cost associated with it because of the grants that we receive and also donations and other things from the community.
You are such a storyteller too. Yesterday we had Walt McAdow from Flint Trading Co. on, and he was saying how like everybody in Genesee County, that's like the untapped talent of Genesee County is like the storytelling. And I'm like, and it's so true. Like everyone I've been talking to over the last 3 days is like, got these great stories. And like, I'm like, man, I should just like send you some information about Entry Point and then record you talking about it. I was like, you talk really well about like Berston Field House. I'm like, man, that place sounds so great. And I'm that's awesome.
And and that's what's so unique about Berston, because people have such fond memories of Berston. We have a video that's on our webpage where we have retired Judge Thomas Yotis, and he talks about in the 1950s coming down there and playing league, and how people were just, they didn't look at black, white, whatever. They were just people coming together, having fun. And that's what Berston still is. Even though it's located in North Flint, we still have people from across the Genesee County that come there, and they know that it's a safe, inviting place where you can come and enjoy yourself and, just enjoy what Berston has to offer.
Quick question, because I've actually heard a couple people refer to this. What's going on with North Flint? What's the, how would you characterize it typically? Because I've heard a couple people refer to it like, oh, even though it's in North Flint or things like that, like not just you, like there's been a few people that have said that, like, well, how would you characterize North Flint?
Well, Flint is a very resilient community, and North Flint always was a very diverse and exciting place to live coming up. It's had its shares of downtrend, because you have Buick City there, and yet, so the tax base is not there anymore. So there is blight. But I think with these different community groups here in the community, they're doing a lot of things to try to change the mindset of people. And I know that it is on the radar of the foundations of the chamber and others, that as we build up downtown and as we build up the city of Flint, we know we have to look at these areas that traditionally have been neglected. So I see nothing but an upward trend. And, we're real excited because we're in the process of having the conversations around our capital campaign, because we want to do an expansion of Berston. And we've been working on it since 2017, and things are starting to line up right in time for the 2023 when Berston turns 100 years old.
Definitely. So we just did this research that we released on Monday, and in the research it says that in Genesee County, 59% of small businesses are led by someone who's Black, Hispanic, Arabic, American Indian, Asian, or Native Hawaiian, even though only 29% of county residents are among those races.
Absolutely.
So how do you think that policy and economic development organizations in the region could better support people of color in the region, since it's really clearly so vital to improving Genesee County's overall small business community and the overall economy in the region?
Start having those conversations with those small business groups, bringing them together to show them and give them access to resources that are available here in the community. One of the things that I know that the Flint Genesee group now,
I've
to make sure. One thing that they had in place was the African American Advisory Council, which I actually chaired for them, and we're doing a rebranding with that as well. And that is to be able to bring those small businesses that might not know of some of the resources that are available, being able to convene them, have a conversation with them, and find out exactly what they need and what they're looking for, and then be able to direct them in the proper way of being able to tap into those resources. So I think that there's a light at the end of the tunnel with this, because, like I said, Flint and Genesee County is a very resilient community, and we have a lot of untapped talent. And I think that's one of the things that we just have to look at. We have to be able to go where those people are, be able to have those conversations with those people, so that they will know what resources are out there that will help them, fulfill their dreams.
Yeah, that is, and it does seem like my experience so far with just different organizations there does seem like people are very interested in listening to people who actually have lived experience in a particular thing, even hiring us to do a research report on the small business community before them creating a bunch of things. We went out to all these small businesses, collected information about small businesses across the county, and kind of are analyzing the results so that they can start with listening to the community versus just kind of a lot of economic development organizations, or maybe not a lot, but economic development organizations have a tendency to sometimes think they know everything about the community and what's good for the community, and be here's what we'll give to you guys. And then you're not really helpful, but thanks.
Yeah. And I think that's key. You have to have those conversations, and you have to have those real heart-to-heart conversations, and really be able to listen to what these small businesses actually need, because a lot of times they don't know what resources are available because they don't have access. And and then you have to have people that understand that sometimes you have to go to them, because they might have misconceptions about the chamber or the Flint Genesee group, and so you have to be able to break down those barriers to be able to have those real heart-to-heart conversations, to be able to move people in a positive light.
We also saw that small businesses in Genesee County donate 250% more than a typical chain retailer does to local nonprofits and community causes. Do you feel like that stat rings true for Genesee County?
Absolutely, because that is one of the reasons why we've been so successful, is because of the small businesses and others in the community that have donated and helped us be able to achieve the level of success that we've had today. So I definitely believe that is true. It's just that it's such a great need, and it's not a lot of businesses here that can keep supporting a lot of these organizations. So you have to, like I said, think outside the box, and we have to be able to generate other resources to come into the community. So that's why I said it's a very exciting time for the community because I see the rebirth of Flint, you know, because of all the things that we've had to deal with. We dealt with the water crisis, we dealt with COVID, you know, so coming out of this, I think that it's nothing but an upside, and I really see some great things happening for this community.
Yeah, definitely.
In the future.
Cool. Well, great. How can people find out more information about Friends of Berston, Berston Field House, things that you have going on?
You can go to, we're on all the social media sites, but you can go to www.berston.org, www.berston.org, or dial area code 810-787-6531. But I have one other thing, if I can just.
Yeah, definitely.
So on July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, Berston, the Friends of Berston is partnering with the Flint Water Festival, and we're going to have a 3-day carnival behind Berston. It's going to be July 2nd, July 3rd, and July 4th. We also are going to have 3 nights of entertainment. We're bringing in the 1970s R&B group Heatwave, Boogie Night.
Oh.
We're bringing them in July 2nd. That's going to start at 7 p.m. right out back behind Berston. You have to bring your lawn chairs. The next day, we're going to have the Roger Jones Music Group, which is a 7-piece band. It's going to play 90s, 2000s R&B music. And then on Sunday, we have Larry Callahan and the Choir of God is going to be performing. They were on America Got Talent. So all 3 nights, we're going to have some activities there, and we're going to have the carnival that's going to run from 12 noon to 10 p.m. each of those nights. I'm very, very excited about this. It's actually free, open to the public. We want people to come on out, and this is our way of being able to give back because we're extremely grateful for the voter support with the art and culture millage that we receive. So that's one of the ways that we'll be able to actually give back to the community.
Yeah, that's great. That'll be so nice too after the pandemic's kind of like waning now. It's kind of like, yes, things are happening.
July 1st is opening up, so we're real excited about that. So I'm hoping that the community can come out and support it. It's free. We're going to have a great time, and it's going to be fun for the entire community.
Yeah, I love that. We'll put a link to Friends of Berston in the comment sections, and then we'll also like put some information about that as well in there so that people can kind of see it. But yay, well, thank you so much for joining and for taking the time to talk to us today. And I will hopefully be visiting you guys soon, maybe on July 2nd through the 4th.
Yes. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You guys have a great day.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Awesome. Oh man, that's so exciting. I love just hearing about like all of these like fun things that are going to be coming up too. Like it's like really, yes. Okay, so now I'd like to welcome on Charlene. I'm going to welcome on Charlene Howell. Hey.
Hello.
How are you? I'm switching up the order just a tiny bit. So you are the owner of How Art Supply and Gallery, which is located in Schwartz Creek. And I'll read like a tiny little description just so that for background for people. So it's a craft store founded in 2010 by Charlene. She's an artist herself, and she takes care to ensure her store offers high quality, affordable, and unique supplies and products. And this is like the perfect example of like the type of company that I'm like, yes, don't order your art supplies off of the internet. Like go to How Art Supply and Gallery, and then you can see beautiful art. Like support a local business, like start doing that.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your background and like what led you to being like, I'm going to start like an art supply store.
Well, I grew up in the Flint area, attended feature schools, and I had a wonderful art teacher in high school who inspired me to really work on my art. And once I started doing art, I thought, you know, it would be so awesome if we had a place that was kind of more welcoming, because I'd gone to some of the other places in town and they were beautiful to be at, but not this nurturing environment that I was looking for. So I wanted to do that. Yeah. So, you know, I started looking around, trying to find a place with no money, just this idea in my head, what I wanted. And it just happened that my husband was working for a company and the owner bought a strip plaza. And he said, I wish I had somebody who was looking to start some kind of art thing. My husband's like, I know somebody, my wife, she would do that. And so it was in Swartz Creek, which ironically is the place my high school teacher was from, my high school art teacher. And he kept telling me before, come to Swartz Creek. And I'm like, what is Swartz Creek? Where is that? I've never heard of it. So I ended up in Swartz Creek. And my desire was to open a place that was going to be a kind of a hub for artists, where artists could come, people who were kind of like me, not real sure of their art, not sure if it was good or bad or if anybody wanted it, and nurture and inspire and encourage them to continue with their work and kind of show it. So then I thought, well, I gotta have a way to support it. So how about get art supplies? Every artist needs them, and we like to touch them and feel them. So I'm gonna make it hands-on. So that's how I ended up kind of starting my business out here.
That's awesome. And it's like you've been in business for 11 years now.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing about running a small business in Genesee County?
My favorite thing about running a small business in Genesee County is the freedom to accept everybody's art, everybody's personality. I have that freedom to just say, come on in, we're going to do it this way, as opposed to let's look at a curriculum and follow every step.
Yeah,
that's my favorite thing.
Yeah. It's like, does seem so cool. Like, we were so impressed, like, when doing the research, that like a lot of regions, so we do a lot of research on like Washtenaw County, which is where Ann Arbor is, and like Wayne County, which is where Detroit is, and a lot on the west side of the state, northern Michigan. And I find that like Genesee County is like one of the most diverse communities as far as like people, as far as types of businesses, like the small business community. It's like you kind of a lot of times will see like, oh, there's tons of restaurants in this place, or like whatever. It's like you guys have it all. Like it's all like very evenly distributed, like places like yours, but there's also just like a number of places like restaurants, or a number of places that are like accounting firms and things like that. And so I was like, really love that. It's just like, seems like such a vibrant community.
It is. And the funny thing is, you really don't realize how diverse and how many different types of artists there are until you open a place like mine. If you go downtown to the farmer's market, you'll see different people doing different things. But once I opened this location, the people that would start approaching were all kind of similar. They didn't really know the value of their own work. And so I started showing it and having art shows and displaying it. And all these people started coming out of the woodworks that were so multifaceted. You might work at General Motors, or they might work at a grocery store, or they might have been a business executive. But then hey, I carve wood, or I make jewelry, and it was just fascinating to me how many different things I had.
Yeah, that's interesting. With the Flint Trading Co., when we were talking to Walter McAdow yesterday, he was saying that he like had a different career and then started making jewelry, or just learning a bit about it as a creative outlet. And then he like just all of a sudden like fell in love with it and was like, oh, I need to do this more and more and more. And so it does seem like people do kind of start these things as just like a creative outlet on the side, or whatever. So
yeah,
cool.
The outlet is really kind of the key. A lot of people are doing these creative things because it's a release. It's a kind of a way to kind of calm and woosah, especially with the health crisis we've had. Even before that, the way people would go and kind of relax or calm themselves or do self-care was to just do something creative, because there's kind of healing in creating. That's a healing kind of a feeling, and it's like, okay, I have self-worth, I have self-value, look what I made.
Yeah, exactly. So you've been in business for a decade now. What advice would you have for other business owners who are in the earlier days of running their business?
My advice is to seek out local agencies like your Small Business Association, which was my saving grace, and economic development, the chambers. Go to places like that, because you may not, like me, I had no clue where to start. I didn't know exactly what to do. I just knew I had art. And it was kind of a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing was that I was such a novice. I didn't know what not to do. So I did stuff that other people were like, I can't believe you're doing that.
That's so
like, what? You're opening a business during a recession? It's like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm going to do it. But those companies, those organizations gave me the bread and butter of the thing. They kind of told me, here's what you really have to do. This is the stuff you must do. I remember Harry Blecker at Small Business was like, I don't care what you guys do, because they had all these free seminars. Make sure you get your taxes done. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to do my taxes. So those are things I think a lot of people fail at, because they're like, okay, I can open this up, I can do this. And then they don't go back and go, okay, the due diligence. I didn't know I had to pay that tax, or I didn't know I had to do that. So that, and seek out other people who are doing something similar to what you're doing and see what's making them successful.
Yeah, that's it is interesting, the navigation of it all, because we had on the founder of Groundages the other day. Do you know that company? They make Band-Aids that are skin colored for people. I love them. Everyone go to browndages.com. She was saying the same thing, like that like she was kind of just realized one day, like, oh, did you know that Band-Aids are actually supposed to be skin colored? So like you're putting on like and they're only come in like white skin tones. And then she was like, I'm going to start a business and we're going to make Band-Aids and we're going to make them for everybody. And then she was just like, I just didn't even know what I was biting off then. She was like, I just did it. And then like, we just figured it out along the way. And so I do think like, that's like such a great role for economic development organizations to play, is like in helping people navigate, like when they're just like they have the passion and the vision and like just need help getting access to the resources, and like, oh, make sure you do this. Okay, cool. And like while they're running, just kind of handing them the baton as they run past. So I love that. How do you think like local residents could be more helpful to small businesses in the future?
I mean, you hear buy local a lot, and it's like, oh, okay, buy local, I'll go to Kroger. And it's like, buy local, it means more than that. I think if other people come and kind of seek out, walk your neighborhood, if you have a walkable area, walk around and check in, pop into these small places and see what they are. I have people doing that now, which is kind of really cool. I mean, they've done it, but we're a sideways plaza, so I was at the back end before, and they were like, they walk around and go, what? Where did you guys come from? I didn't know you were here.
Yeah.
Now we're closer to the front of the street, but still, we had a funky garage door, which was cool because we painted on it. But now we have actual doors that open, and people are wandering in, and it's like, where did this come from? So walk in the neighborhood. If you find somebody, try to support them. Buy something, or even just look around and tell other people about them.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. It's like chain retailers are not local. Like that's like when you say shop local, that's such a good point. It's not going to Target. It's not going like those big box stores or like Home Depot or something like that. I'm like, go to your local hardware store, go to your local whatever. That's so true. I was gonna say, show us like around your studio a little bit.
Okay.
I'll make myself small so that, let me see if I can do this. Wait a sec. I might mess this up.
This is going to be fun. It's like I told you, I'm low tech, but I'm learning. So I'm going to pick up my camera and walk you around.
Yeah.
If you're seeing my toenails or something, please don't charge it to my head, charge it to my heart. Here we go. We have all manner of art, all kinds.
Yeah, that's so cool. What's on the other side?
I'm coming this way. I'll take you over, and this is funny. I'm going to poke it right through the window, my camera, because our art store is in there.
I love that. Yeah.
There's the art supply store in there, and there's a ladder. I'm sorry, but we're hanging art. So the art on the wall is here. We have art supplies everywhere. Prints. There we go. I just noticed how bad I was holding the camera. There we go. Okay, I have aprons and crafts, woodworking, books for artists to come and borrow. I don't know if you can see that there's clear glass on the tables, but we got PPE
Yeah.
in place. Lots of PPE in place.
Wow, it's like such a beautiful shop.
Thank you. Just before COVID, we had a big art show featuring the work of one of the artists who became one of my employees, thanks to help from the economic development in DC. And we have jewelry, all kinds of cool stuff like that.
Wow, that's so cool.
So that's a little bit about a little bit of what you can see in our shop. I wanted to get you through the door. I'm not that good of a camera person, but I'm going to walk closer and see if I can show you some of the things we have in here.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and paint and supplies. And so we do have, and I'm getting it back up here. And I teach art. I've got some of the lessons that I teach are here.
It's like,
so drawing and painting and different things like that. All kinds of cool stuff that we do here. One of our big things we do is, or my mission statement, one part of it is nurture, inspire, create, and educate, the NICE projects. We do a lot of things. You'll be shocked to know that I do a new author self-publishing workshop every year where I feature local artists local authors in the area who've been successful at publishing their own books.
Oh.
And we do all free workshops. They come in, and the author will come in and talk to people about the process and how to avoid the pitfalls of publishing your own book.
Yeah.
We do American Sign Language intro classes to help other artists who are deaf connect with hearing people who want to know how to communicate. So I use art as a catalyst for a lot of things.
Yeah. Why did you decide to do that? That's so unique.
Well, my daughter's deaf and special needs. So I do a lot of interaction with special needs school. I actually worked there for 19 years as a paraeducator, working with special needs persons. So art is a huge connection there. Art is therapeutic. Our artists at the special needs school will blow your mind how wonderfully talented they are.
Yeah.
And so that is kind of near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
And I realized there was a real block between communication. And I'm going to put my hands down or I'll start signing.
I know.
I do that, but there was a real.
Then we'll be more accessible to a broader range of audience members.
Well, there was a disconnect, like a separation between deaf artists and hearing artists and special needs persons. A lot of special needs individuals who are artists use sign language to communicate. So there's this big connection here. Everything comes together through communication. So I use sign language and I'll teach people sign language. Like I said, my classes are free or next to nothing for the workshops.
Yeah.
The workshops we have one called Deaf Chat Coffee Hour, and people would come in and they would just bring their laptops or tablets and we would sign and use basic sign language. You're not going to get a certificate. It's just us communicating, so you can communicate.
Yeah, that's
that's part of the whole thing, the nurturing people's skill set, whatever they have, bringing it out as opposed to me. I don't teach people to draw cookie cutter type of things or do what I do. I just look at how they create art and then I nurture that and help them develop their own style. Inspire, I do a lot of work, free art shows where they can come in and have their art on display. I teach them how to present it so that they can have their own businesses, maybe their own small business. Show their art a certain way, how to price it, things like that. And it's inspirational to have somebody appreciate your work.
Yeah.
And create, we make everything, all kinds of stuff, just fun stuff, clay.
Yeah.
We always have a dance party afterwards. That's fun.
That's like totally the reason why like people should support local small businesses, because it's like it's not just like go in there and you're just like buying one thing or something. Like you're providing a lot of services to the entire community and like really creating that. Like when we always say like a vibrant local community, but I mean like, that's like the definition of vibrancy right there.
Yeah. I think your community. I mean, the people are the heartbeat of everything, your business. Mm-hmm. And if your people are sad or homebound or locked in or depressed or what have you, and you don't have an outlet, people aren't going to get out and walk around and go to your shop and go shopping. They're stuck at home. They're sick. They're whatever reason. I think you should always have a person-centered plan where what can we do to make this like our, BB was just saying, something that's going to inspire the community to want to come out, to want to get together and be with everybody. And so that's the goal of my business, is to make sure you want to come here, not just because you can buy something, because you can buy something in a lot of places, but you can't get what we give. We can't give you inspiration and nurture you, and kind of, I like people to be able to touch the art supplies, feel them,
I love that. So where can people go to find out more about How Art Supplies?
Come and see. You can go to www.howartsupplies.com. You can go to find us on Facebook at How Art Supplies, and you can call us at 810-610-3506. You can book a paint party, because I do virtual paint parties.
Oh, fun. Okay.
And they are awesome. People will say, is it painting and sipping? And it's like, you can sip if you're at home, but I don't have anything to do with that. Sip water, whatever. I have nothing to do with what you're sipping, and you can twist if you want to, all of that can happen. We will have fun, but I don't provide any adult beverages. I'm sorry.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll put a link to How Art Supplies and Gallery in our comment sections on our social media and stuff like that. And then I thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. And yes, do support your small businesses.
Yes. Yay. Okay. I will talk.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
And last but certainly not least, Tiana Thomas with Amazing Angels. You're like, I was watching you down at the like off screen, and I was like, oh man, I'm making her wait for quite a while here.
It's fine. I'm just happy to be here.
So Amazing Angels Dance Factory was founded by you in 2018, and it featured a young majorettes dance team with almost 50 members. I almost said 500, and you're like, oh, that makes me mad. 50 members, and then you have a lot of other services as well. Like, tell us a little bit about your background and kind of like what led you to starting Amazing Angels, and like a little bit more about the organization.
Okay, so my background, I grew up in the city of Flint. I was inspired to be a dancer by my lovely sister, Kanesha. She was a majorette. She was the captain of the Flint Northwestern marching band. She also danced under the direction of not the Wildcats in Motion, the owner of the studio that's inside of Berston.
Oh, cool.
She was our coach for the dance team. So basically, I got into the field looking at my sister dance. She was a very popular majorette, watching her go to dance class. So I started after her. I started at Northwestern High School, then I went off to college and was into the majorette life down in Tennessee. And then I came back home, and I was inspired to start my own team because my sister eventually passed away in 2017. She was shot at a block party, an innocent bystander. So I just decided to keep her dance legacy going because she was like very serious about dance, and people used to come watch her, and she was just amazing. So I was like, I want to keep her legacy going. So I started the dance team in my living room. I didn't think it would be big. I thought it would just be like some kids that just show up and we dance outside. We just go somewhere, dance, and that was it. I didn't think, I had no vision of it being outside of my living room. It was just I just knew. So I posted a flyer, letting people know I was starting the dance team. And then after I posted the flyer, I got like a lot of backlash from it. Like about 200 people had signed up to come. So probably like 200 or like 1 to 150 kids showed up to tryouts. And I only kept 40 of the kids because I started, they let me have my tryouts at Northwestern High School. And then after the tryouts, I'm like, okay, we don't have nowhere to go. I'm like, it's all these kids, these parents drop these kids off. I'm like, where am I going to take them? And I was so young, but I just knew what I wanted to do. I knew I had a vision. I always wanted to run a team since I was like 13. I always tell my mom, like, I want to coach dance. I want to coach dance. I wasn't a dancer myself, but I wanted to coach dance. I wanted to make a difference in a kid's life, and I was so young. So after we did the tryout, we went to my living room, of course, and then I was like, okay, these parents are serious. We just was eating dinner, like Rotel, talking, laughing. I'm like, okay, this is a real team. I said, this is a business now. So
I love this is a business now. I love that.
Like, okay, so then we went to a community center. We stayed at a community center for about a year. After being at the community center, it started to expand, and I figured I needed my own home to have the kids to come home to. So in 2019, I had ended up finding a location for the girls to call home. It's called the Cackle Angels Dance Factory. We opened up, and then COVID shut us back down for a year. And it's so nice and sparkly inside. Glitter walls, it's everything. The Born to Dance, it's in memory of Kanesha. I've heard stamped with her in memory of her on the wall with a dancer girl. I wish I could show. It's got purple glitter walls, silver glitter walls. With
If you
mirrors
have
everywhere.
if you have a photo, we can put photos in the comments, like afterwards.
Yeah.
Put photos in the comments and stuff. So if you have those, I'm like, I want to see at least.
Yes, I can do that. So then that's how it started. And I got into the studio and I expanded. I had about 80 something kids coming into the studio before COVID happened. I had hosted a tryout. Over 100 kids came to the tryout. The third one, be like 3 years in now. And then we had a lot of kids that came. Then, of course, COVID had started. Then we went and shut back down. But we just reopened officially again in March this year. So we are back and we have our first competition. We are a competitive dance squad. We don't only do just majorette. They do hip hop, jazz, lyrical, tumbling. And I do want to give a shout out to Berston, the friends of Berston. They started when I first started my business. I partnered up with them and I took the girls. I'm like, I want kids to flip. I took the girls to Berston, and thank you so much to Bryant and Miss Sheila Graham and Miss J, who turned my team into a flipping team who flips out the sky now. We did go partner with Berston and utilize their tumbling stuff, and now we have we do tumbling as well.
Yeah, that's what and it's like things like that too. I mean, kind of just how Charlene was talking about, like, it's like you are like creating community. Like when like no one's going to Target to be like, hey, can you like actually like help me with this or whatever, like that. You go to like Friends of Berston, you go to other local small businesses, and like that's like the like vibrancy in the region is created because of those connections. So it's like I love things like that. Like that's why I'm a fangirl of all of the small business owners. It's like so great. So what would you say your favorite thing is about running a small business in Genesee County?
My favorite thing is making a difference. Like every day when I get up, I interact with so many different kids Monday through Friday, and they have different personalities, different situations. Everybody is different. So being able to make a difference in each child's life every day, whether it's just being someone that told them they love them today, or just being the first person to give them a hug, or that guidance, or that just being an inspiration, something positive.
Yeah.
Being able to make a difference is the main, that's like, I'm very thankful for that because I'm an impact on a lot of different girls' lives every day. So making a difference is something that I enjoy the most because it's rare that the young girls have something positive to do, or something different other than, social media. Yeah,
definitely. And it sounds like you have a lot of people that are coming to you too. I don't even know what I would do if that many people were being like, get dropped off and be like, you're like,
I don't even know how to. I get so shy so much. I'd be like, it's just magic now. Like I'd be like responding to this person, responding to this person, responding to this person, responding to this person. The kids be like, y'all call her name so much, but I can give everybody an answer. Literally, like if they calling me, they need me, so I'm there.
Yeah, I love that. What did you do when you started seeing the signups for that first thing coming through? Like, were you just like freaking out?
Notifications was coming to my email, like register. I'm like, every 5 seconds it was dinging. I'm like, oh, this is big. I'm like, okay, no. Then they really show up. I was like, oh, this is big. Like, It was like,
where did you have them all be at? Like,
we started at Northwestern. I had contacted Northwestern, let them know like, hey, I want to start a dance team in memory of Kenesha, and they agreed. They let me come in, have a tryout. I decorated, put up a balloon arch, had it all fancy looking for the girls.
Oh, cool.
And they was with it. And then I actually host Stop the Violence dance competitions annually. COVID stopped me from doing my one last year and this year, but I was on my third 3-year Stop the Violence dance competition that I didn't get to do, but I did do my first one and my second one. But
explain what that is.
Okay, so basically, like, I do it in the city of Flint, and it'd be like I have teams from all over come, local or out of state, and they come, and we basically, it's like a tribute to Kenesha in remembrance of her. It's a 1 year. It's only happened one time a year. Around her death date, it's a flyer, and it says "Stop the Violence," basically, and the kids come dance. It's a competitive dance, and they win trophies and first place and stuff like that, 6 feet trophies. But basically, it's just a competition for the kids to dance in memory of, like, not only my kids, but kids from all over.
Yeah. And your family must be so proud.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so cool. I'm like, you're gonna make me like Misty on the Cackle today. I'm always laughing, so now I'm like, oh gosh, I'm bringing to bring down the vibe here. So I would say, okay, so shopping locally is really like a big part of like building a vibrant local culture and contributes to local job creation. Like, what are some of the reasons why you think it's really important to have a really strong small business community in Genesee County or in
Flint? The support is like what really makes it. It's the support from, because rather it's just not even just purchasing something for a kid. You can just be there, just showing up, whether it's just coming to an event, just being the support that the kids know, that the kids need, because some kids don't have that. So to see like others in the community coming in to support kids that they don't even know, it make a big deal.
Yeah. So also they say that like about 50% of small businesses fail in their first 5 years, and you're a new small business. Like what things could like residents do, or like economic development organizations, like what things do you feel like would help you continue to grow your business?
I feel like the access to the tools that you need, like the resources need to be more available. Like, it's hard to find them. You have to know people to find resources. Like, it's like you really get somewhere by basically talking to people that know people that get you there, versus it being plastered on a flyer or on a poster board or somewhere where you can directly see it, like, so you can know where you can look for resources at. I feel like that would be a better help as well, because when I first started, I didn't know where to look. I started with nothing, no grants, no loans, and still doing the same thing, but I didn't know where to look or where to find resources or where to find help. So I feel like the community could, or, the economic development, that type of things, could be better at the resources, putting them out there so we can know where to access them at.
Yeah, that is like such a common theme among like all of the businesses that we're talking to, is just kind of like, they're like, and I know like at the beginning of the pandemic too, like everything was like shutting down, and I was like, so like what are the rules? And like you don't have time to do, like you've got like 9,000 million people coming over to like try out for things and things. You don't have like 100 hours in a day to like search for grants or figure out like a transition plan for how to operate during COVID. Like, it's just like the resource, like being able to be like, like for these like community support organizations or whatever, to just be like, here's the resource you need. It's thank you. Pull my damn hair out. Like, so yeah, that is definitely a common theme we hear. So how do people find out more about Amazing Angels Dance Factory?
We are on YouTube. You can type in Amazing Angels Dance Team and find our videos of us performing, or you can look us up on Google, Amazing Angels Dance Team, and you'll get right to our website or our Facebook page, Amazing Angels Dance Team.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll put those in the comments too, so that people get them. And then if you send me photos of space, then I'll put those in there too. So people can see it. That was so great. Well, thank you so much for joining today and taking the time. And I'm sorry for making you wait in the wing.
You're fine. I'm
cool.
happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
That's so great. So a big thank you to Friends of Berston, Amazing Angels Dance Factory, and How Art Supplies and Galleries for joining today. You know, it's like so great to hear about other businesses. And today was the last day of our special edition. If you missed earlier episodes that we had on Tuesday or Wednesday, you can check them all out at entrypointmi.com. You can also check out the 2021 Genesee County Small Business Analysis. We have that in the link to that in the comments section. And really thank you to Tyler Rossmessler, see I said it right this time, Executive Director of the Flint and Genesee Economic Alliance, and his team. They provided like such great insight through working on this project. It was really great to work with them. They're really supportive and like probably one of the more like listen first, create programs that like the community is actually telling them to create, types of organizations that we've worked with here. And we work with a lot of economic development organizations. So it's been really great working with them. And thank you to you all for watching the Cackle today and earlier this week. And remember to share these episodes, or you can share the landing page for the Cackle with people so they can see all 3 episodes and to really get the word out about these businesses. Make sure you continue shopping locally. The pandemic is not over, and the effects of the pandemic are going to be going on for quite a while. So it really needs to be a major focus of everyone's to continue supporting local small businesses over the next coming years. And then also next week, we will be back to our regular scheduled program of the Cackle. We are at episode 60 of the Cackle. And it's Wednesdays at 10:30 a.m. So next Wednesday, we're going to be talking to Kelly Sexton. Kelly is like so great, so smart. She's PhD, runs the technology transfer office at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. She's like been in North Carolina. She's was at Stanford. She's done like all of these things. So smart, so interesting. So we're going to be talking to her a little bit about universities' role in innovation and building a good entrepreneurial ecosystem. So that will be really interesting. And we will see you all next week, Wednesday, 10:30 a.m., right back here on Entry Point's Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Thanks. Bye, everyone.